Okay, welcome to another Hack Chirps, a collection of calls where all the Parrot members and community contributors join together to discuss about the past, the future, and the present of the project. As for the previous calls we did together, we are currently discussing mostly how do we want Parrot 7 to be, how would we like to see it in the future, how we like to develop it. So we have been collecting ideas about new desktop environments to implement, new CI to automate the build and make the whole build process more transparent to the users, and actually bring to a round table all the discussions we usually have on by chat, also to know each other and so forth. What we don't want this set of calls to be is like me presenting something or talking alone and you just watching it, but we would like to push you to say your own ideas, to actually have the community involved. So please start preparing your questions or ideas for the project so that we can actually start discussing it together. Because in the previous calls, we also had something presented to you. Like the first day, we had one of the Kaido developers doing a quick presentation of the Kaido project, how it was made, how it works, and so forth. Second day, we had Dario Danterole, one of our core developers, who did a quick presentation of Rocket, the new Parrot tool that we developed. Today, we don't have a main theme to the call. It's just to talk about the future of Parrot. While I was waiting for a few people to join the call, I was actually updating some of the packages, like the tools of the current Parrot version. And I was working on Metasploit. I did a last patch on Metasploit because it wasn't working. Fortunately, I found a fix to a dependency issue that we have, so now it should be able to work. So my expectation is in few hours to have the latest Metasploit version on our testing repository for us to test it and update it. There is a broken package of the Metasploit environment, which is probably, what's the name of that tool? The graphical user interface for Metasploit. To Armitage, because unfortunately Armitage is like a 2006 Java package or something like that wasn't updated since it was released. So it is full of bugs. It doesn't work on modern machines. Some binary patches were introduced to fix some behaviors and to reflect some changes that were done to the Metasploit framework. Good morning, Muffin. So this is it. My dream scenario will be to see a rewritten version of Armitage, something modern that works on modern interfaces with modern technologies, and it is actually open source and well maintained. Of course, it is not happening right now, so we won't see that, and we have to keep having Armitage as the only free, as in free beer. Interface for Metasploit. So there also other packages were updated recently, and I have approved, Dario did approve the merge requests for them. So we are almost ready to release those as well. They will come just after Metasploit, because the latest Parrot update, the 6.2 release, actually introduced some updates to the core of the system, namely browser. The installer was updated as well. Bugs in the installer, yeah, we fixed them finally, but we had a little issue with the caching system of the download infrastructure. While for Parrot 6.3, I will actually like to spend some time updating the tools. So I want to spend as much as possible into looking for tools that need to be updated, especially those that don't work well if not to the latest version, and those who are completely broken. Namely, we have two major tools that are broken right now, and we currently don't have a solution for both of them. One is a Beef XSS, because of some Ruby dependencies, I believe. The daemon just doesn't start. And the other one, I think Beef XSS should be pretty easy to fix. The other one is, what's the name? OpenVAS, JVM, GVM is the new name, but OpenVAS is the way we all know the tool, because it is a nightmare of dependencies that are not available in Debian or are available in Debian at an incompatible version. So it is extremely hard to maintain. It is a nightmare of a tool, the way it is developed. So my dream scenario would be to have them implemented both as Docker containers into Rocket and ship them through to the Rocket tool, because what we don't actually use Docker. I think we use between the two pretty easily, but Podman is pre-installed into Parrot, so it's what's used, so it's also safer, kind of. And it is a manager for containers used not to deploy infrastructure, but to deploy command line tools to do penetration tests. So in Parrot 6.3, we will actually like to provide Rocket by default, update as many tools as possible, remove those that are broken, and maybe ship them through Rocket. And we will hopefully have also Kaido as well implemented. If we get Kaido into Parrot 6.3, I think that will be the best Christmas gift I could give to myself and to the whole Parrot community, because it is a nice tool. We also have the Kaido developer in the call, so why not? And he presented the software to us. Do we have any questions? Let me read the chat. Yes, Dante Role said we can include them in Rocket. Do it, do it. Okay, we might also leverage the official Docker containers of those tools. So we might provide all the tools in Rocket, not only through Parrot containers, but also through official containers provided by third parties. It is when it is the right choice to make. A nice question is how to help with further testing. Well, we have been a very small project for 10 years. So one thing, it is my fault, one thing that we didn't develop is a clear way for new contributors, new maintainers to actually join the project and be productive from day zero. You approach the project, you want to contribute to, you have no idea how to start, where to start from. We are working right now to update such kind of contributor policies, make the whole process easier, start to spend more time working on issues, all the collaborative tools that we already have. So use GitLab the proper way, because if I have to just deploy things on my own or to share them with Dario or DM Knight, the former developer, well, it is like very difficult to do that if you have to open an issue every time, to publish it in the right section, to review the things, to do all the paperwork. It slows you down when you are very, very few people, like one or two working on the tasks. When you start to be like 3 or 4 or more contributors, they actually save you time, because everyone on the same track, everything is more visible, the communication is easier. So the paperwork makes sense, and this is what we are trying to do right now. So in the future, you will see major changes in the way the project performs its updates, and also contributing will be easier. Right now, the first thing you have to acknowledge in order to contribute to the project is to to understand what Parrot actually is. It is not a software, because a software usually has I have like one repository with all the code inside. You go there, you read the code, you understand it, and you do a pull request to have your changes applied. In Parrot, it is different because Parrot is an operating system, so it is a collection of several programs, each developed by the respective developers in the language they decided, they picked when they woke up and decided to write that software. The build process is different. We actually, Debianizing a tool actually involves translating what the build procedures are for that specific tool to a universal language that our Debian workers, the Debian builders, can understand to produce a valid deb file. So do you want to make a change in Parrot, like fix a bug in the installer? You have to understand which package the Parrot installer is provided through, get that source code and start working on that package. So some packages we work on are available on GitLab, of course, and you can find their source code there. Other packages that are available in Debian but were not yet patched or modified by the Parrot team are not available in our GitLab because it makes no sense to just put the vanilla projects there. We didn't touch them. So you have to take advantage of the Debian source repositories. It means you enable the source repositories in APT so that you can download the source the source version of the package you could get from APT and have it on your computer. Do the patch there, contact us to deploy it, and we will do it and even create the repository. So it is a very complicated process because there are multiple ways of doing that. If the package was already patched by the Parrot project, so it has the repository on GitLab, you just go to GitLab. If it doesn't, you have to know how to get the source from Debian, always through the Parrot repository, but from APT, and contact us to know who to contact to do that, which is usually me or Dario. So we are there to document the process. If someone of you is brave enough, you might try to sit down with us and try to write down the right documentation, help us write this kind of contributor documentation to document step by step what is needed. And where we find together solutions to make it easier, we can actually change the way we accept contributions so that it becomes better to anyone. But yeah, for us being an operating system and not just a software makes everything easier on one side because you don't necessarily have to write the code to contribute to the project. Sometimes just some configuration that needs to be fixed. On the other hand, it is way harder because you don't know where to put the hands on. Yeah, if you want to help on that, we will love to have you aboard. This is actually the purpose of this very family of calls that we are doing to bring the developers together to discuss about Parrot development and get the spots where we can do better and try to do it together, because we are very few people working on the project, like putting their hands on the core. It is just me with Dario, who just started to give some more help on the engineering side, like the ARM builds, a couple of packages, developing the Rocket tool, and so forth. But right now, it is me alone doing the heavy lifting of the package maintenance. KD is a nice thing. We have a KD configuration. So if you install KD, you don't get the default configuration of Debian, but you get our own with some things. But it is broken. It is not well maintained. So my idea is to rewrite it from scratch and do something really amazing with the themes and the default configuration. Put the right icons there. That kind of things that make a distribution worth of using. And KD is actually one of the choices we are considering as one of the new officially supported default desktop environments for Parrot 7. So if you want to work on it, you are welcome. You're very more than welcome. My suggestion is to wait for the initial Parrot 7 repositories to go out, because that way you will start doing the configuration on the latest KDE version with the latest configurations, so that things don't break, don't have to be redone once we are ready for Parrot 7. But yeah, let's keep in the loop to do that. And we will guide you to do that. We might even do some hands-on programming sessions in the future where if you have an idea like let's update the KDE configuration, I share my screen doing a hack Chirp call, and we do it together. You see how I do it, so that the next time you can do it on your own, like autonomously. That would be amazing. So let's schedule it for future calls. One thing we could actually do even is when I start to work on Parrot 7 to live stream my all the procedure, maybe on Twitch. We will see with Julia where to stream it. We might try to do it on Twitch and YouTube, and also have a K-Meet room where people can actually step in and contribute to the call. So we do it together, and we do like live sessions of working on Parrot, so that you can get familiar to the procedures to develop a distribution. Okay, to help with, let me catch up with the chat very quickly. Start to contribute, and as soon as you have some tools maintained by you on the repository, we add you as a maintainer on the website as well. Debian packaging propose several options to bootstrap. Oh yeah, also setting up a local build environment for Debian and Parrot is very useful if you want to start building the tools. We would like to implement a proper CI on GitLab, like a visible one, something you can actually activate and use by doing pull requests to the repositories of the tools. It was extremely hard because GitLab works amazingly with Docker containers, Docker containers, but the Debian build infrastructure was built decades before Docker was even a thing. So they implemented their own sandboxing technologies, stuff like that, which are extremely incompatible with Docker. So you cannot Dockerize a Debian compliant as build worker, say. So I didn't want to do like a stateful builder server with as build setup and Docker CI able to connect to it and give commands, because if that gets hacked, you might compromise the whole infrastructure. So I was studying for like 10 or 12 years a solution, like more like 7 years, a solution to that very issue. I think I found the right way to do it securely. It is not as secure as I would dream of, but it is secure enough to be finally implemented. So in the future, I would like Parrot 7 to be all built by automated workers, from the bootstrap to the repository to everything, even the signature of the tools. We might try to do it on the repository, on at least a staging repository, with a key that doesn't cause damages to the distribution. And maybe we might do it live. Why not? So if we do it together, of course, there will be plenty of instructions to do the bootstrap of the whole Parrot 7 container, the instructions to set up your own local S-build workers, and so forth. Okay, next question from security with a 3. I'd like to help and better understand Rocket project. Rocket is extremely simple to contribute with, because it is a tool, it is one software, it has one repository to join, and the code is all there. So all you need to do is to go to the repository and start understanding the code. If you need any help, you can just reach out to Dario Dante Rolle on Telegram. He's also here on the call. Chat with him if you have any questions. Hey, there is this feature that I would like to implement. Which file should I start looking for? This kind of questions. And we will give you all the help necessary to be productive on that. It is pretty easy. For instance, one thing I would like, there are several things I would like to implement in Rocket, but I speak a lot and I do very, very little. This is why Dario is here. One thing I would like to implement is like an orchestrate, a manager for the images, all the artifacts that Docker produces during its life cycle. So it requires some maintenance. Rocket doesn't offer maintenance utilities right now, so it will be very, very nice to see how many unused layers are out there, which images are available on the system, whether to delete them if you don't need them anymore, if you have paused instances, offer an option to revive them or not. Or other important features will be to customize networking capabilities, like networking isolation and configuration of the machine, and local drives, like mapping the folders from inside the container to the hosting machine so that you can actually share files, save data, and so forth. That would be amazing. Actually, a very, very high priority thing is storage. Share the storage between the guest and the host. And the other one is some maintenance, housekeeping of Docker artifacts, and maybe also add some resume and pause and resume features to the images. And then the least important one is, of course, networking, because it's pretty safe to just use the host networking for the tools, and who cares about the rest. Let me see other questions. Okay, here are some answers. Oh, Git as build package. There is a tool made by Debian to automate the way Debian compliant structured source code can be maintained on Git. It is extremely useful to have and to master, and it also offers build capabilities. It kind of works. It is useful when you are testing one or two tools that you developed or you maintained, but to actually work on an operating system, the only best way to do that is to actually set up S-build workers on your machine and use them for the build, because it is exactly the environment you're going to use on production. There's also one thing very, very useful. If you build packages on your host machine, if to build the packages, a build dependency is required, you might have a working build process that worked even if that dependency was not specified in the package. Let me repeat myself, to make it easier. If you forgot to specify a build dependency, but you happened to have it installed on your local system, Git as build package will successfully build the package, and you will never get the missing dependency that you forgot to add. Then, when you publish the package and I deliver it to the production build environment, the production build environment will give me an error that will never get it otherwise. So if you always do the builds on clean machines without dependencies pre-installed, the dependencies will always be installed before building the package by reading what is specified in the package specifications in the control file of the package. And if you forgot something there, you will see the error there. So you can fix the package accordingly. And also, it is very useful to always do builds on a clean environment, also to spot other kinds of issues you might have with the tool for compatibility and cleanness, and because you have to do it. It's the right procedure. So I recommend using the Git tooling made by Debian. I wouldn't suggest to use Git S-build package to actually test hardcore package building. If you are like a maintainer, if you just develop the tool, it's great. When you start maintaining it for a distribution, just use the official pipeline used by the distribution. Let's catch up with the chat again. Trico, if it is the right pronunciation for your nickname. What do you mean with Rails developer? Do you mean like Ruby on Rails? And also, oh, do you mean to have proper Ruby on Rails support on Parrot 7? Okay, if it is your question, just text me if I got it right. This is my opinion. Debian is a stable distribution. It means that it is going to happen like right now in these very months. It is what is going to happen in Debian. Let me describe it to you. Debian will start to freeze the testing repository with all the packages there. All the versions of the packages will be frozen. There will be like a deadline for the developers to push the latest versions, like the last chance to update the packages there, and they will be frozen. Only fixes will be done until the release. If they got all the necessary fixes to work properly according to the Debian standards in time for the second round of freezing, they will stay on the distribution. Otherwise, they will be deleted from the distribution. This is why we don't have VirtualBox on Debian stable, for instance. If you notice that the VirtualBox package is available on Debian testing, but it is not on Debian stable because because they forgot to add or something, but because it was too buggy when they did the freezing of Debian 12, the latest, the previous one, the current stable one. So now they are like the soft freeze, they call it, if I remember right, where they will ask the maintainers to do the latest commits. Then the package, the repository will be frozen. No major upgrades will be allowed. The packages will be fixed altogether to be consistent. Then a second freeze round will be done where all the broken tools will be excluded from the repository. And then another round of testing will be done, and then the final release is done. After the final release, the new Debian stable is out. It is stable, so no major updates will be there. Only security updates. New features will not be introduced. And it is what Debian will guarantee for 2 years. From time to time, on very rare occasions, some major changes will be introduced in Debian point releases, but nothing great. Which means that programming languages, compilers, interpreters, IDEs, and so forth, tool development kits will stay at that version and stay outdated for 2 years. It means that if a new version of Java is out, if a new version of PHP is out, if a new version of Ruby is out, or Python, or whatever else, you will not be able to get it on Debian. Also, because most of the Debian internal tools rely on those versions of compilers and so forth. If you try to apply it on your own, because maybe you are a developer on your machine, or you are a distro of a derivative project like we are, you might actually heavily break the system. Let's say some key components were written for a specific version of Python 3, and they cannot work with the latest one if it wasn't developed in a specific way. You will break the system. So we cannot, as a derivative, introduce a new version of Python or a new version of Ruby without breaking everything. Because maybe if you upgrade the new version of GCC, maybe you are forced to upgrade libc as well and recompile a huge amount of libraries against the new version of libc. So me alone have to do the same work that thousands of Debian developers did, like in 6 months of feature freezing. It is not possible. It is just not possible. It doesn't scale as a solution. So Debian will always propose all kind of older versions of the development toolkits. But it also means that if something works on Debian and Parrot, it is guaranteed that it will work the same way for at least 2 years without breaking. So it is a guarantee. It means that if you are a developer and you need to use Parrot or Debian as a development station, your only option left is to use containers. It is amazing because it enables you to replicate the same environment you are going to deploy the tools to. So if you want to work on Rails, just create a Docker file where you instantiate maybe a Debian instance or any other distribution core with the latest version of Rails, with the dependencies you need specified there, and you do everything from Docker. The testing environment where you develop on, and the production environment where you deploy the whole code on. This is the best way. It is like the modern way of doing development. Make sure your distribution supports a recent version of Docker, and we can easily provide backports to Docker the way it is developed. It is made in Docker in Go, so it's very, very easy to update. And then develop it there, whether it is GCC, Ruby on Rails, as you mentioned, or Java or Python or whatever application. If you want to use Parrot or Debian as your work environment, just install Docker and Docker Compose, define your build environment there. And even if you share it, you can commit it on your Git repository, so that the infrastructure made to test and deploy the code comes with the code. It is like the ISE model, infrastructure as code. It comes with your code, so it is easy for anyone, anywhere, to be on the same page when developing the code. Any questions, even if not related to the current topic? Okay, if you need to actually, if you have never seen a Docker used for these kind of things, wait, I have a demo project I can show you. Let me share the screen really quick. I lost my page. Wait. Just to show you what I mean. It is on GitHub, I believe. Julia, don't kill me for what I'm doing. Okay, this is an example repository. This is a stupid exercise for a website I did at university with a couple of colleagues of mine. As you can see, the backend is here on this folder, all written in standard Node.js. The front end is here. The gateway, we'll come to the gateway later. And here we have the documentation. You have this Docker Compose file in the root that specifies how the backend is deployed, how the front end is deployed, and how the gateway is deployed. And we also have a Mariah database here and the network configuration, because we wanted, I believe, the backend to be able to talk with the gateway, the front end to talk with the backend, but the database to talk only with the backend and not with the front end and the gateway. So you can also segregate the networking. It's very, very advanced. Here you specify that the backend will be built from the backend folder. Let's see it. And in the backend folder, you have, along with the code, a Docker file that states, take the latest node image. It is an image provided by the Node.js project itself. If you go to hub.docker.com, here it is. So you don't have to build your own container unless you actually need it. And you specify, after using this template with Node pre-installed, run this command to install Express, run this other command, use the folder as work dir, and run this other command to install the npm dependencies and start npm. This is run to build your base image. Then when you have this base image, the Docker Compose will use it by launching, what is specified? It is not, but by launching the command. So the infrastructure, the operating system the code has to run in is specified as text along with the project. It is hard to get at the beginning, but once you get how to work like that, you will just exploit the most powerful tool that has ever been developed for us, the developers. So if you learn it, it is great. Do it. Other questions? Okay, I think we don't have other questions in the chat. We ran out of topics. So I will wait maybe 2 minutes in deep silence, and then we can close the call. Meanwhile, I will just check whether the Metasploit update worked. Yes, there is a recording of this meeting, and we also have recordings of the previous meetings. The first one, we had one of the Kaido developers presenting their tool, and of course, we discussed about Parrot and everything. The second one, we had Dante Rolle presenting Rocket, the tool we made. And today, we just did some random shit about Parrot development, which is great. And yeah, we have recordings. Julia, we should decide how to share them with the community, maybe with a dedicated page or anything like that. We will find the right way to share it on you. Yes, they are on YouTube, but maybe we can add the embedded videos on a dedicated page on our website. It is a bad idea, maybe. And guys, this thing of me talking along here doesn't have to continue. At some point, I want you to actually step in the call and do the meeting for me. That will be my dream scenario, to see like the community taking ownership of the community calls. I think with publishing the recordings might actually introduce some privacy issues. Maybe we should work on some, at least GDPR compliance, or like asking the users before they join to whether they want to be recorded or not. Because even if you don't share the webcams, the nicknames are visible. So if you are not okay with that, we have to take it in account in the next calls. If you have any complaints, actually, if you were shown on our one of our videos and you wanted to be taken down or edited or something like that, please tell us, and we will intervene on that. Don't be scared to ask these kind of things. I care about privacy, even if I am forced to give my face out everywhere Parrot is. I really care about privacy. So if you have any complaints or suggestions, please share it with us. Guys, I think we are done. So thank you for being here today. The community. Yes, don't worry. Again, this is not going to be the last class. So it was a pleasure to have you here, and so see you next week. I hope to see more questions are we used to, and maybe more people joining us. Thank you, guys. Let me stop the recording.